Welcome to Maddox News. We got an exciting week this week. First, we're going to start out talking about YouTube's new censorship policy. A lot of people are criticizing YouTube because they think they're censoring right-wing channels, right-wing content. YouTube hired a bunch of new moderators, and this has caused a lot of controversy. YouTube hired about 10,000 people to spot fake news, misleading videos, and extremist content on YouTube to target for removal. In doing so, they mistakenly removed some channels with conservative points of view. Now, naturally, a lot of people are suspecting this might be an actual conspiracy against right-wing articles and right-wing outlets, specifically Alex Jones. Google said it would assign more than 10,000 people to moderate content to help reduce the distribution of fake news after the February 14th Parkland shooting. Some moderators mistakenly removed videos from right-wing and pro-gun YouTubers. Alex Jones, this is from Bloomberg, says Alex Jones, who runs InfoWars, has pushed conspiracy theories about school shootings, is the most outspoken, self-proclaimed victim of YouTube. He said this week that YouTube told him his account faces 2 strikes. On Tuesday, an InfoWars article stated that Google was, quote, purging conservative media, claiming that CNN and other news outlets were lobbying Google to terminate the InfoWars channel. Now, I don't know how much truth there is to this, but it sounds like Alex Jones is either a victim or a baby back bitch. Which do you think he is? Chime in below in the comments, guys. I'm going to be reading some of your super chats throughout this broadcast. If they're any good, we'll see. I'll keep an eye out on those. But what do you think? Is Alex Jones... I mean, he's prone to conspiracies. This guy makes his bread and butter by being a conspiracy baby back bitch. He predictably went straight for the conspiracy theories on this. He said, it raises the question, does Google have a bias? What do you guys think? Does Google have a anti-right-wing bias, or is Alex Jones just being a bitch? This is a big question that a lot of people are asking right now. And to be fair, some websites, some videos, some channels have been struck in this purge. Now, YouTube came out and, to their credit, they did say that this was a mistake, that some of these channels were removed accidentally. I'll tell you my own personal experience with YouTube and Google specifically. Now, a lot of people know that YouTube and Google is famously run by people who are left-leaning and liberal. I created this video a long time ago, about, I think, two and a half years ago, called One Weird Trick to Save 23% on Wages. In it, I covered the wage gap misconception in America, which is a lot of people say that there is about 30% wage disparity between men and women. Well, if you look into those statistics, it turns out that men and women don't work the same number of hours. They don't work the same types of jobs. They don't necessarily have the same types of education. But the biggest factor that goes into creating the wage gap, or the perceived wage gap, is that men and women tend to work different types of jobs. So it's looking at all the jobs that men work, and then all the jobs that women work, and then just averaging their salaries, even though men predominantly have higher risk jobs like male petroleum engineers, and women tend to go into social work. Now, you can argue the nature versus nurture aspect of that, but anyway, I created this video, the one you're seeing here on the right. It's on my YouTube channel. If you guys haven't checked it out, it's a very well done video. Yes, it does sound like I'm congratulating myself, which is absolutely correct. I love myself. I think I did a great job on that video. But if you check out that video, it is very, I guess, kind of like a conservative point of view with regards to the wage gap. Now, I recorded that video, I believe, at the YouTube Space in Los Angeles. The YouTube Space, for those who are not familiar, is an area where people can go and record videos for free using all of Google's equipment, Google's studio space, and Google's resources. They make resources available to you, such as consultants, managers, producers. They make editing bays available to you. Now, this video not only is contrary to YouTube's core ethos, especially if you looked at what happened on Twitter this week. Someone tweeted, the official YouTube account tweeted out that they wanted there to be no more wage gap, something along those lines. They said the wage gap is still a thing, right? And someone tweeted at YouTube and said, I hate everything about about this Twitter account. They said you should focus on the demonetization and the problems with your platforms, and instead of pushing this agenda. So YouTube responded to that and said, and yet you follow us. And that really set off a firestorm. It pissed off a lot of people. A lot of people accused YouTube of anti-right-wing bias, and being kind of like a liberal. And to be fair, they are pushing this agenda. However, the reason I bring up my video specifically is because it was screened at YouTube Space in Los Angeles. That doesn't mean that they are endorsing my point of view. They are neither endorsing this point of view, nor are they opposed to it. They did allow me a platform to screen this video in front of an audience. In fact, they encouraged it. So that was kind of eye-opening to me personally. It signaled to me that in spite of the fact that YouTube is run by predominantly liberals, it's a San Francisco-based company. Their hub is in near San Francisco, the Oakland Bay area. In spite of that, there's one important fact that all these conspiracy theorists are forgetting, which is companies like to make money. Now, first and foremost, companies like to make money. They're not interested in censoring you at the expense of their bottom line. Google has shareholders. They have people that they have to respond to on Wall Street. They need to make money. Now, if you think that, okay, in spite of the fact that YouTube likes to make money and they may have a financial disincentive to censor right-wing content, just look at the other alternative, okay? First of all, you have to consider the fact that YouTube doesn't owe you hosting. YouTube doesn't owe you free hosting. YouTube doesn't owe you content. And if they run your videos on their channel without monetizing it, it costs them money. I looked up right before this video, right before this broadcast. Video hosting costs currently online are about 10 cents per gigabyte. Now, an average video, if you have a video that's about, I'd say about 30 minutes long, this broadcast will be about 30 minutes long, that's about 1 gig of data, right? So that's going to cost you 10 cents per view at 1 gig per video. So if you get an average of 10,000 views per video, that's going to cost you $100 of hosting. That means it's going to cost Google around $100 to host your video. Now, Google has every incentive to monetize your video. They want to make money off of your video because not monetizing your channel costs them money. They are not sitting here conspiring against right-wing websites and right-wing channels at the expense of their bottom line. Now, I do believe that there has been some content that has been, inappropriately removed. Tim Pool's channel comes to mind. Tim Pool, he runs a great website and a podcast and a channel on it's called Timcast. If you look up Timcast, he put out a video shortly after the Parkland shooting talking about the hoax that the shooter was trained by a white supremacist group. Tim got it right early on, but YouTube removed that video. When they reinstated it a few days later after the mainstream media caught on, it had already been too late. He lost all the monetization, he lost all the views, he lost all the momentum. So I don't know if that's because of an algorithmic problem or it's one of these 10,000 people who flagged these videos, but it is something that a lot of people are worried about, a lot of people are talking about. My gut feeling, though, is that this is not a conspiracy against right-wing websites, right-wing channels, right-wing content. Because, first of all, they don't have the personnel to go through that much content. It may be algorithmic. They search for keywords. My last broadcast on this news show was demonetized because I talked about the Parkland shooting. I think just as a blanket statement, YouTube likes to make advertisement-friendly content. That's why your super chats are so important. Thank you so much. Good segue into talking about the first few super chats. I want to... Here, I'll read a few of these. Let's see if we can read some of these super chats. Well, first of all, Kay Han says, fucking fish masturbation. Yes, that's a story coming up. I'm going to read this first super chat here. Oh, it's Tito De Loera says, what's up, cabron? Love the show. Google has a porn bias. Go to Bing instead. For $5, thank you, Tito. I think that might be the Bad Hombre. If you guys listen to my podcast, I have a regular caller called the Bad Hombre. Here's another one from Baliok2 for $10. Thank you, Baliok. Says, I love Maddox more than a midget loves a girl above 5'1". I would let him stab me in the chest to cure me of vampirism. or let him use a vibranium bullet to shoot through my Bean Panther suit. Thank you, Baliak2. Very confusing super chat for $10. Thank you so much. And then Jen Longtime fan, longtime listener Jen, thank you so much. Says, hi Maddox, the wage gap video is the one I share the most. Love and stuff. Thank you, Jen. I'll be reading some more of your comments coming up, but we should move on to the next news story. Guys, this is a big one. This is another Google-related story. Google has been accused of anti-white bias. Now, this is something that, again, a lot of people have been suspecting of Google for a long time, but an actual recruiter is now suing Google for anti-white bias. It says here, a former recruiter claims he was fired because he didn't toe the line on rejecting white and Asian male job candidates. The recruiter named Arnie Wilberg, claimed that Google systematically discriminated in favor of job applicants who were Hispanic, African American, or female, and against Caucasian and Asian men, according to the complaint filed in state court in Redwood City, California. Wilberg worked at Google and its YouTube unit for about 9 years, and claims that he was terminated in retaliation for complaining to human resources about the company's hiring practices. So it looks like he's saying that Google wanted to hire Hispanics, women, and black people over white people. White people and Asians, actually. That's the first time I've heard of anti-Asian discrimination, especially in a tech company. Make of that what you will. But this goes back to an old article I wrote a long time ago about diversity. Google told the Wall Street Journal that we have a clear policy to hire candidates based on their merit, not their identity. At the same time, we unapologetically try to find a diverse pool of qualified candidates for open roles. Oh, man. Diversity. I wrote an article a long time ago, probably about 9-10 years ago, talking about how diversity is a red herring, especially with corporations, with companies that try to hire, quote, a diverse pool of candidates. What they mean by that is diverse looking, all right? So they're not talking about your personality. They're not talking about your upbringing, your character. What they are talking about is your skin color. That's what they mean by diversity. So it goes back and contradicts Martin Luther King's edict that we should judge someone not by the color of their skin, but the content of their character. So if you hire 4 white guys, or 4 white girls for that matter, and you look at them, you can tell nothing about those people. Nothing. Based on just their looks. Like this picture of diversity, this is like just a classic stock photo of diversity. You've got the black chick in the back. You don't know anything about her. You've got this guy. I assume he's white. He looks white. Got this black dude. And you got some other chick. What can you tell me about this black guy? Other than his skin color. What can you tell me about him? Nothing. The answer is nothing. Diversity has become this thing that we just look at skin color. It's discrimination in the opposite end of the spectrum. Instead of saying it's discrimination against people, it's discriminating people by their skin color still. It's backwards thinking. Anyway, that's what's going on right now. Diversity these days is code for judge someone by their appearances. So this will be really interesting to see how it plays out, especially because this guy is a recruiter at Google, or was. I guess he was fired, and that's why he's suing. He's saying it's for retaliation. Anyway, moving on. This is, well, before I do, I'm going to read some super chats. We got another one coming in for $5. It says here, whoops, this is not a super chat. It says, this is from Logos. It says, they actually do have a large team of people called trusted flaggers whose sole job is to flag inappropriate content and give out automatic strikes without due process, says Logos. Yeah, I have heard that, Logos. That's an interesting comment. That's something that a lot of people have a problem with right now with how Google is moderating their videos. There's not a lot of transparency as to who is moderating those comments, who is moderating those videos, rather. Some reports have said it's the Southern Poverty Law Center, which some people have a problem with. Look, guys, it's not a perfect organization, but it's one of the people that Google has included. But let's read these super chats. We got one from yet another loser, another YouTube user, not loser, for 500 pounds. Whoa, 500 yen. Okay, I thought that was pounds for a second. This is nice work with the invisible green L in the logo line, in the Google logo. Oh shit, was that invisible? Oh fuck. Yeah, I got the chromas going. I fixed the chroma on your super chats though. No credit for that. Never get any credit for doing anything right. You guys just bitch. I got another $5 from Foxy. Hey, Foxy, what's up, homie? That guy is an amazing editor. You guys say hey to Foxy. And say hey to Stan for putting all these super chats together. He says, I was bored, so here's $5. Thank you, Foxy. That's badass. Subscribe to Foxy's channel. That dude is dope as hell. And we'll read some more super chats in just a minute. Oh, I got another one. No comment from Eistian Glumru. Eistian Glumru. Thank you, Eistian. Anyway, back to the news stories, guys. This is a gross story. This is one I've been wanting to talk about for a little bit. It's a man who used an anglerfish stomach to masturbate, and he ends up in a hospital. Look at these graphics. I'm so proud of my graphics. Stan actually made this. Guys, say hey. Shout out to Stan from NEA Report in Arkansas. Stan is helping me produce this news show. But all glory, no hole. A guy used the stomach of an anglerfish to masturbate, ended up in a hospital. This story is amazing. A guy who works with fish decided to jack his hog using a fish's stomach. Talk about a seaman. Am I right? Anyway, back to the news. So, this guy may be the most adventurous masturbator of all time. If you guys have a crazier masturbation story than that, I'd like to hear it in the chat room. Laugh all you want, though, but if he discovered the cure to cancer by humping a fish, nobody would be laughing. And in case you're wondering, a fish's stomach looks like a prolapsed anus. Take a guess how well that went. Look at this shit. This is from the article. This is what he used to masturbate. Now, guys, it's kind of funny to make fun of these people who masturbate with weird shit. They think that it's it's funny to make fun of people who experiment, but these are the pioneers. These are the people who took us forward. You know, the first person who had an enema. They're just shoving a hose up their ass. And then next thing you know, it's a medical procedure. Sometimes you have to get an enema. Not me. My ass is perfect. Squeaky clean. Never need an enema. Anyway, on to the story. He ended up in the hospital with what was probably a parasite in his dick. Ugh. Look at this. He now has to apply ointment to stop it from stinging when he takes a piss. Nice going, dipshit. This honestly isn't the worst thing I can think about humping. It's like jacking off to a nightmare. Look at that thing. By the way, I should have probably warned you that this story was super gross if you have a squeamish stomach. So don't watch the last 10 minutes if you got that. All right, let's get to some super chats. We've got some super chats here. Let's see. Oh wow, we've got one from Zerta1. Holy shit, Zerta1 for $100. Oh man, Zerta1 for $100. Thank you, Zerta. That's amazing. Good stuff. Pro-diversity argument. Tech companies might be trying to help minorities by giving them more role models since they need it the most. Interesting comment, guys. What do you think of Zerta's comment? Thank you very much, Zerta. Everyone give a shout out to Zerta for $100. Great support. Thank you so much, Zerta. Really appreciate it. What do you guys think of that argument? Is this something that needs to happen? Should companies hire, quote, diverse people, diverse employees, I guess, to set a role model? Is it their job to set role models for other people? That's an interesting debate to have. Won't be having it on this newscast because it's not my podcast where I do debate such issues. It's called The Best Debate in the Universe. Check it out. There's a little plug. Here's another super chat. Thank you again, Zerta. From Pavch Babin, the real Christian atheist. I know this guy. I know Maddox is already right because he told me so. Amen. Christian, what a badass. Got another super chat for $19.99. Wow, thank you so much. Honest Bear says, Maddox, please say the name Grace Hudgens, and I will shit my pants with happiness. Grace Hudgens. Is that your name, Grace? Well, there you go. Grace Hudgens for $20. Thank you so much. That really helps us out. Really appreciate it. We got another super chat for $2 from Dick Feces. Thank you for covering the important news. You got it, Dick Feces. We cover all the important news. People jacking their hogs in fish stomachs. We got another super chat here. Squeaky93 says, I just want some attention, so I gave you $5. Well, Squeaky93, you got it. Then, let's see. We've got, here's a super chat. Oh, that was from Estian Gloomru. Thank you, Estian. That was for $1. No comment. And here's one more that just came in. Chef Shit. Chef Shit for $1. Thank you, Chef Shit. I love the non sequitur profile picture of a kitten. Awesome. All right, let's move on to the news, guys. Oh, this is amazing. So the Parkland shooting happened, and everyone lost their fucking minds, both on the left and the right. But most of all, these guys. There is a church in Pennsylvania that blessed their AR-15s. Now, I gotta warn you guys, this is a bozo alert. A bunch of bozos decided to bless their AR-15s at a church in Pennsylvania. On Wednesday, a group of faithful at the World Peace and Unification Sanctuary gathered to participate in communion and wedding ceremonies. This is an actual picture from the event. They wore these crowns made of bullets. Everybody's wearing a crown. I don't think people should wear crowns except for me. Makes me uncomfortable. Makes me insecure. I wear the crowns. Anyway, back to the story. The ceremony's official name, and this is real. Here, I got a screenshot from the website. Ceremony's official name was the Cosmic True Parents of Heaven, Earth, and Humanity Cheon Ilguk Book of Life Registration Blessing Ceremony. That's the name of this thing. Which, of course, was part of a week-long event that included a dinner on Saturday called President Trump Thank You Dinner. So, everybody brought their guns to church. A nearby school, I don't know if you guys can read this, says a nearby elementary school had to be shut down for safety. The cult-like church behind the ceremony with AR-15s and bullet crowns explained. This is one of the most bonkers stories I've heard in a long time in a news cycle that is essentially and constantly bonkers. Everything about the news cycle is exhausting. I yearn for a slow news week. I don't know what I'll do for this broadcast if it is, though. By the way, this chyron on the left-hand side of your broadcast, the letters cut off. I know they're cut off. I don't know why. Every fucking time I make sure it looks good right before I broadcast. As soon as I hit broadcast, everything's fucked. Not my fault. Anyway, moving on. Back to the story, though. Trump called for a rating system to be implemented for video games. While speaking to Florida Attorney General Mom, he said, "Take the guns first, go through due process second." It's an actual quote from the leader. He then went back in time 23 years to 1994 and implemented the Entertainment Software Ratings Board, or ESRB system. He said, speaking to Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi, Trump said, "I'm hearing more and more people seeing the level of violence in video games is really shaping young people's thoughts." Boy, I'll say, it's shaping my thoughts. And then you go the further step, and that's the movies. You see these movies, and they're so violent. The kids, so violent, a kid is able to see the movie if sex isn't involved. But killing is involved, and maybe we need to put a rating system for that. Yeah, they already have that, guys. This is the ESRB system they introduced in 1994. Problem solved. Now we never have to talk about this issue again. Thank you, Donald Trump. What do you guys think of Trump talking about video game ratings again? Talking about censoring video games, potentially. I mean, I don't know what the solution is when it comes to video games. What the solution they're proposing is. Do we prevent kids from buying violent video games? I mean, there's already this ESRB system in place. And if that's the case, then you're essentially saying that the ESRB system doesn't work. Well, if that's the case, then the next logical step is you have to start censoring video games. You have to put regulations on the video game industry. You have to weaken the First Amendment. So in place of people suggesting that we have some amount of gun control, which would weaken the Second Amendment, people who support this idea that Trump is proposing are suggesting that we weaken the First Amendment instead. What do you guys think of that? Should we weaken the First Amendment or the Second Amendment? Neither or both. There's already limitations in place on both amendments. The First Amendment has limitations in place. You can't make threats against the president or anyone, really. And the Second Amendment has some limitations in place. I believe you can't legally own certain types of firearms, fully automatic machine guns, and things of that nature. But anyway, it's a good debate to have. Won't be having it. It's outside the scope of this broadcast. But I'm going to read a couple more super chats, and then we got to round out this broadcast. Here we go. This is a super chat from that guy for 99 cents. Oh, what is that? Euros. 99 euros. Holy shit, that's like $5. Thank you, that guy. I really appreciate the super chats, guys. Super helpful. Keeps the show going. Here's another one from David Freeman. Says, Maddox is higher than me. I agree, David. Good comment. It's fine. That's a really good comment. Thank you. I really appreciate that, David. A real fan. Sarath Chandra says, Maddox getting a lot of super chats since his octopus video earlier this week. That's right, Sarath. So if you guys are tuning into this channel for the first time, this is the first time you've checked it out, I have been doing these news streams on Friday nights, but in addition to that, I'm going to be continuing to produce regular content on my YouTube channel. Just because I've been doing these newscasts and podcasts and other things like that doesn't mean I'm going to stop producing content on my main YouTube channel. The reason I haven't been, one of the reasons that things have slowed down is because I've been working on a big project, which I'll announce soon. It's very exciting. It's probably the biggest thing I've ever worked on. It's huge. You guys are going to love it. But I am going to go back to producing regular YouTube content on my main channel, in addition to these live news broadcasts on Fridays. We got one more super chat, then we got to round this out. Here's one from Chip Sanger. Chip says, this is from podcasts to me. This is from podcasts from a while back. You said the Cultural Revolution brought China advancement when it destroyed Chinese culture. Check out China Uncensored on YouTube. Thank you, Chip. Thank you for the $10 super chat. I believe, I did talk about the Chinese Cultural Revolution. I think it's a little bit more nuanced than saying it either was good or bad. In general for China. There were some good things that came about from the Chinese Cultural Revolution, like, for example, the simplified Chinese alphabet. Part of the Chinese Cultural Revolution was a modernization of their language, a modernization of their infrastructure, their electrical grid, their power, food standards, and things like that. But there was a lot of bad things that happened as well. I don't think it's as simple as saying it was a good or bad movement. It was a movement, and we can analyze it in the complexity of it. But I will check that out. It's called the China Uncensored on YouTube. China Uncensored. Well, we'll see. We'll see for how long before the YouTube mods get there, am I right? Anyway, guys, that's it for this news broadcast. Thank you again for all your super chats. Thank you for your support. It really helps us out. Let me know in the comments if there are any news stories you want me to cover next week. Send me a tweet. It's at Maddox Rules. I'll be continuing doing these broadcasts. Lots more to come. Until next time, I'm Maddox, but most of all, you're welcome.